Hi students, it's Mr. Werman here. Today we're going to look briefly at the volume of triangular prisms. Okay. Yesterday we talked a bit about prisms in general. So we talked about prisms and we talked about their volume, right? So for example, we looked at things even just briefly like this is a hexagonal prism. Okay. But the idea of a prism is we have one shape right here, right? That same shape is on the opposite side. And then it's connected by rectangles. Okay, that's a prism. Okay, and to find the volume of any prism. Okay, it's always the same formula, but we have to tweak each one for the individual shape we're looking at. But the volume of any prism is going to be R base, a big base, big B, times height. So what is that big B? In that case, it's this green thing right here. Okay, a hexagon. Okay, so you find the area of this, and then you multiply it by the height of the object, which means the line that connects this shape to the same shape on the opposite side. Okay, so area of this times that height, and we'd find the volume of the shape. All right, let's look at an example here with rectangular prism real quick. Okay, same idea. We find the area of this shape, right? Well, what's the area of this? If you remember rectangles, it's just going to be our length times our width, right? Or you could call this base and height. It means the same thing. So we multiply these two sides together. We'd find the area of this green shape here. Once you have that, you'd multiply it by the height of the object, and we'd find the area of this object. Sorry, find the volume of this object. Okay. All right. So triangular prism is going to be very similar. We're going to find the area of the triangle. Okay, that's here. Multiply it by the height of the object. All right. So we have to remember our formula for finding the area of a triangle first. Okay. So remember our formula for finding the area of a triangle. So the area, I'm going to write A. I'm going to write it up here actually. A of, let's set this down, the triangle equals, if you remember, 1/2 little b base times height h. Okay, 1/2 bh. So for that, we'd measure the base and the height, right? Our base, again, and height must be perpendicular to each other, right? So if I would get out my little ruler, I would see this would be about, let's say about 4 centimeters here. Something like that. And say this is 3 centimeters tall. Okay. If that were the case, we would say base of 4 times the height of 3, 4 times 3 being 12. Half of 12 is 6. We'd find the area of this is 6. Once we have the area of that, that becomes this big B, right? We just multiply by the height of our three-dimensional object. All right, so let's look at some examples here. All right, so if we have this model here, as it said, basically what we just said there, the volume equals the big B, the base, that one shape, times the height of the object. And that big B, in this case, is again 1/2 times the base and height. So those two, in this case, these two sides, if they're meet at 90 degrees. All right, so let's look at this model here. All right, so they have our numbers labeled here for us. So notice again, we have this triangle here as a base, and it's continued over there. It's connected by these rectangles, so we have a prism. All right, so first we need to find the area of this side right here. All right, so let's look here. So I'm going to kind of highlight this in green a little bit so you know what we're talking about. We're looking at this space right here, right? So notice how if this is the height of 5, this is the base of 4. They meet with this little 90-degree angle, so we know that's base and height. So if we need to find the area of that triangle, we're going to say the area of that triangle equals 5 dot times 4 times 1/2. Or we also said 5 times 4 divided by 2 because that means the same thing. So the area of this triangle itself, 5 times 4 is 20. 20 times 1/2, or 1/2 of 20, would give us 10 inches squared would be that area. Okay, so we found that area there is 10 inches squared. That, again, is our big B. That's our base. Now that we have that as 10, we just have to multiply it by the height of the object, or in other words, this line that connects one triangle to the other. So if that's 10, we're going to multiply it by this height of the object, which is, in this case, 8, just 10 times 8. 10 times 8 is 80. Okay, so we're going to say it's going to be 80 inches cubed, or inches to the third power, right? All right, so all these will be the same idea. Area of the triangle, multiply by the height of the object. All right, let's look at one more. Okay, one more here. We have our triangular prism here. Notice again, if we have this, let's look at this top one here. I'll outline it for a second. Okay, so we need to find the area of that first, that shape first. Okay, notice a lot of times with these, they're going to give us extra numbers. We're not going to necessarily use all the numbers. So in this case, they took by this little dotted line. We see this line is going to be the same thing as this line, right? This dotted line is the same thing as this line here. Okay, and they meet at this 90-degree angle. Right. So to find the area of this triangle here, again, area of that triangle is 1/2 BH. In this case, our base is 7, our height is 10, or 10 and 7, 7 and 10. So we do 1/2 dot mean times set 10 times 7. Okay, great. So 7 times 10 is 70, and 1/2 of 70 is 35. So the area of that triangle itself is 35 centimeters squared. Great. Now that we have that, that was the area that I outlined. That's 35. We just need to multiply that by the height of this shape itself, right? So I'll just do a little blue here to be clear. Okay. This is the height of the shape, which is 6. Okay. So area of this times the height of the shape, we got the area of that. So again, if the volume equals big B times the height of the shape, sometimes you call that height 2, right? We got this is 35 times our height of the shape being 6. 35 times 6. If we do that in our calculator, or you can do it by hand, either way, we'd get 210. And again, volume is in cubed units, so we'd say 210 centimeters cubed. All right. So maybe a little weird at first. You'll get the hang of it. Again, area of the shape, multiply by the height of the object. That'll work for all prisms. Okay. But right now we're just looking at rectangular and triangular prisms. All right. Let me know if you have questions, and you should be ready for the activity. All right. Thanks. Bye.